I know what I heard, so don't tell me I didn't. If you're rolling your eyes already, just stop. I'm writing this before I forget anymore. My head keeps skipping like a scratched disc, and I have to pin it down. It started in my room. 4th floor, east wing, the old hall with the stupid humming vents and the detergent smell in the carpet. I was alone. My roommate moved out in September, and housing never filled the spot, which I was fine with until now. I checked the time because my phone lit my face in the dark. 1:17 a.m. That's what it said. The knock came right after. 3 quick, 2 slow. Not a knock. This pattern. It hit in my chest. I sat up and froze like a total idiot. "Who is it?" I said. I said it too loud. My voice sounded wrong in the quiet. Nothing. The hall was dead. Then the knock again. Same pattern. Almost polite, like it wanted me to match it. I swung my legs off and felt my feet hit cold tile. I looked through the peephole. The hall light flickered once. I swore out loud. It was just the wall opposite. No one. I opened the door anyway because that felt less crazy than standing there waiting. The hall smelled like laundry and wet concrete. There were prints on the floor, right in front of my door, going toward the far stairwell. Bare feet. Wet. They shined a little when the light buzzed and blinked again. I said, "Hello." Then I whispered, "Okay, like that would do anything." I took a photo. I swear I did. I crouched, angled my phone, took 3. Then I closed the door and locked it and stared at the photos. They were gray static. Every one. The thumbnail showed the floor and the print, and then when I tapped it, static. File time said 1:17 a.m. All 3. I didn't make that up. I slept with the light on, and I'm not ashamed of that. You sleep with this pattern in your head and see how tough you feel. Next morning, I needed my student ID to get breakfast. My lanyard on the hook was empty. I tore the place up. Bag, hoodie, desk drawer. Nothing. I thought I'd dropped it last night, so I went back out and looked around the hall like I was hunting for coins. Nothing. I swear it wasn't there. I went to the dining hall and the girl at the desk said, "You need your card." "I lost it," I said. "You can pay cash," she said. That was the end of that. I sat in class, hungry and pissed and tired. At noon, I came back to my room. The ID was on my pillow. I am not a messy guy. I would have seen it. It had scratches across my face, little ones, shallow, like a key dragged 3 times and then 2 longer lines. 3 short, 2 long. I know you think I'm doing that pattern to everything now, like I'm obsessed. I didn't then. I didn't catch it. I just thought, great, ruined. That night I set my phone to record. I pointed the camera at the door, hit record, and propped it up. I waited. I told myself I'd wait until 2. At 1:17 a.m. the knock happened. 3 light taps, then 2 harder ones that you feel through the door. I swear the light in my ceiling flickered with the last one. I said, loud, "I'm calling security!" I ran to the door and yanked it open. The hall was empty. The wet prints were back, but there were only 2 this time, like someone had stood and shifted weight. Then they weren't wet anymore. I don't know how to say it. They were just dull, gray, clean spots. I took more video. Static again. My camera froze on a gray field, and the timer stuck at 1:17. It wouldn't even save. When it unfroze, it said file corrupted. I want to punch a wall just writing that. The RA on duty downstairs is named Matt. He has a beard he's too proud of. I went down there with my stupid dead phone and my sweaty t-shirt and I said, "There's someone knocking on my door at night. Not like a prank. It's the same time both nights. 1:17. He looked up from his laptop and said, "Okay, dude. Which room?" 418, I said. "It's probably a friend messing with you," he said. "I don't have friends here," I said. That made him smirk. "Can you check cameras?" He called security. He said, "Hey, Jeff, this kid's got a noise complaint." Yeah. He says 1:17. Uh-huh. He put the phone away and said to me, "They'll swing by if they can." No one swung by. Of course not. I posted on the campus forum at like 2:30 a.m. I wrote, "East Wing, 4th floor. Anyone else getting knocks at 1:17? 3 short, 2 long?" Serious. People made jokes or told me to sleep. One person DM'd me. Name was Caleb M. His icon was a guy on a bike with a helmet, so I trusted him for no reason. He wrote, "I live across in West." I had something like that last year. I know the security guys. I can help you check footage. I met him in the lobby the next night. He was tall, hoodie, backpack. He had that grin you get when you're trying to be friendly at midnight with a stranger. He stuck out his hand. "Caleb," he said. "Parker," I said. "I don't care if you think that sounds made up. That's my name." He glanced up at the ceiling lights and then at the camera bubble over the mailboxes. He said, "They never clean these domes. That's why the image is all flare." "How do you know that?" I said. "I used to work AV," he said. He didn't look me in the eyes. He looked at the corners. He didn't smell bad or anything. He seemed normal. Jeff at security sat us down and pulled up the monitors. He said, "You're the one in East 4? The old cameras over there have blind spots. Don't get your hopes up." He chewed on a pen. He clicked through black and white feeds until the clock in the corner read 1:15. Caleb said, casual, "Let's jump to 1:17. Jeff clicked. The feet of my floor showed the hall like a gray tube. The blob that is my door. For a second there was nothing. Then someone stepped into the frame and froze right at the edge of where the camera caught. You could see a hood and the corner of a jaw and a shoulder. You could see something in his hand. Jeff leaned in. His pen stopped moving. "Can you zoom?" I said. "This isn't CSI," Jeff said. But he did zoom. The pixels got bigger. The thing in the hand was a card. You could see the white border and the blue bar. You could see scratches that made it look like it had texture. The timestamp said 1 hour 17 minutes and 3 seconds in the corner, clean as day. "It's my ID," I said. I knew it in my stomach even before my head did. I grabbed at my pocket for the card on my lanyard without thinking, and my lanyard was empty again. I swear to you, 5 minutes earlier I scanned into the building with it. It wasn't on me now. Caleb said, "Don't panic. It could be a loop. Sometimes they show old footage." "It says 1:17, I said. Jeff rewound. The figure didn't walk in or out. It was just there at 1:17 and then not at 1:18. He scrubbed back and forth and the guy popped in and out like a frame. Jeff said, "This is the blind spot thing. He's standing where the camera doesn't fully catch. You get a slice. There, then not." "I want a copy," I said. "There. We can't give you a copy," Jeff said. "Policy." Caleb said, "We can do better. We can stake it." "Oh." He talked like that. "Stake it. like it was a dumb movie. But he showed up the next night with coffee. We sat in my room with the lights off, and the door cracked. At 1:10 I said, "If this is a prank, I'll kill you," and he laughed, like a short breath. He took out a notepad and put it on his knee and tapped his pen on it. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap. I felt my skin crawl when he did it. "Can you not?" I said. He looked like he didn't know he was doing it. "Sorry," he said. He smiled, but it was one of those smiles that doesn't show teeth. At 1:17, the ceiling light clicked off. Just a blink. Enough to make the room go black and then back. The knock came with it. 3 fast, 2 slow, like it learned to time itself with the light. I was up at the door. Caleb put his hand on my arm. "Wait," he said. His hand was cold. I shook him off and pulled the door. No one. Nothing. The hall was completely quiet. I leaned out. The air felt damp, like after a shower. There was a student ID on the floor by the threshold, face down. I said, "No." Caleb said, "Let me see." He stepped around me and picked it up like he was just helping. He flipped it. It was my face, smeared by new little scratches. 3 short lines chewed across my nose. 2 longer ones raked down the side. He said, "Hey, your card." "I had it a minute ago," I said. I held out my hand and he gave it to me. I turned it over. The back was smudged like someone held it with wet fingers. My name and number were dull from being rubbed. I closed my door and my hands shook, and I don't care if you think that was dramatic. I tried to record the hallway on my phone again. The video counted up to 1:17 and then froze. That's when I realized all the small files, even old ones from months ago, were showing 1:17 in the info. I know that sounds fake. Why would old files change? I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I only looked at ones with that time. You wanted honesty, right? Here. I don't know. I just know my brain was fried and my heart was beating like I ran. We sat again the next night. Caleb brought gaffer tape. He put a strip of tape across the door seam at the bottom and another on the frame. "If they lift it, the tape tears," he said, like he'd done this before. He told me to set a chair under the knob. I did. I posted an update on the forum. Final proof tonight. 1:17. Got tape up. Chair braced. The post was there, and then when I refreshed, it was gone. My inbox showed message deleted by user, where Caleb's DM thread had been, except he was sitting next to me, so he obviously didn't delete himself. I asked him about it. He scratched his neck and didn't look at me. "Mods do that," he said. "They hate panic posts." "It's a dorm forum," I said. "What panic?" He shrugged. He looked at the tape corners. He tapped the pen again. 3. Then 2. It made my hands sweat. "Stop," I said. "I didn't even try to be nice." He tucked the pen away. At 1:16, a friend texted me, "You up?" I typed yes, and then the light blinked like it had a heartbeat, and the knock hit the door. 3 quick, 2 hard enough to make the chair tick against the floor. The tape didn't tear. That's the part that wrecked me. The chair shook, but the tape was still there. Perfect. The hair on my arms stood up. I shoved the chair with my foot and yanked the door open. Empty hall. A single wet footprint on the carpet right between my door and the wall. Just one. Heel and toes. Who stands on 1 foot? How? The light at the far end of the hall flickered, and the one by the camera, and for a second everything looked washed out like a photo without contrast. "See?" I said. "See it? See it?" Caleb leaned out next to me. He peered at the footprint and said, "Too calm?" Yeah? We went back to Jeff the next day. He didn't want to show us anything, but Caleb talked to him like they were on the same shift. Just roll it back, he said. 117. East 4, angle 2. How do you know the angles? I said. He said, I told you, A-V. We watched. At 117, there he was again. Hood up, hand at his side with the card. He tilted his head like he was listening. He never looked at the camera because that would have made it easy, right? His shoes were dark and ugly. The wet footprint was the opposite of those shoes. I pointed that out. Those aren't bare feet, I said. Jeff said, there's nothing I can do if he won't show his face. Can you zoom on the card? I said. He zoomed. You couldn't read anything. Just scratches. Caleb leaned closer. The monitor lit his cheek. His cheek had a tiny crescent scar under the eye, fresh-looking, red on the edge, like a nail mark. My stomach dropped. It was stupid. You couldn't see something like that in the grain, but I saw it. I want another angle, I said. There isn't one, Jeff said. He swiveled and typed and swore. Great! Now the stairwell cam is offline. It goes offline every night at 1:17 because the system pings the server, and when the Wi-Fi drops in that building, we get a loop, and... Shut up, I said. I didn't mean to, but he was explaining like it was weather. Please. Just. Please. I heard how I sounded. Crazy and rude. He rolled his eyes. Caleb touched my shoulder. We got this, he said. Let's camp the stairwell. He has to move through somewhere. Cameras don't get the corners there. That night, we went to the front stairwell. It has a big window and a light that never shuts off. We sat on the landing where you can see the door to the 4th floor and the turn where the back staircase comes up. It smelled like old mop. Caleb set his backpack down. He watched the window. His leg bounced. He didn't talk much. When he did, it was about nothing. Classes. Weather. Crap like that. He checked his watch even though we both had phones. The light in the stairwell flickered once at 1:15. My phone said 1:16. Then it jumped to 1:17. I watched the minute roll and I felt stupidly sick. I got up. Caleb got up too. Don't run, he said. I'm not, I said, even though I was already leaning toward the door. The light went out. Not a flicker. It just died. The window went black like someone put a blanket over it. The hum in the building shut off and the quiet was like cotton. I held up my phone and the screen was gray like the video thing. The time at the top said 1:17, but the seconds didn't move. It was like the number was printed there and the rest of the phone was a picture. I took one step and kicked something. Hard plastic. My ID slid under my shoe. I felt the texture. I bent down on reflex and a hand put itself over mine and pressed. Careful, Caleb's voice said right by my ear. His breath felt cold on my neck. He pressed the edge of the card into my palm until it bit. Not bleeding like a horror movie, but a sting that made my eyes tear. He guided the card into my hand like he was giving it back to me, but he did it slow and he did it deep. I jerked my hand back and the card slipped and clacked on the stair. I turned, phone light finally popping on. It hit his face up close and made it flat except for shadows under his brow and that little crescent scar, exactly where I saw it. His hood wasn't up this time. His hood was down. His eyes were dull. He smiled the same no-teeth smile. He tapped the railing with his knuckles. 3 quick, 2 slow. Tap, 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 tap. No, I said. That's all I said. It came out like someone else. I shoved him with my shoulder, and he didn't even stagger. He just shifted a ½ inch and let me bounce off. I slipped on the stair and sat down hard. My palm hurt. Slick. It smelled like metal and plastic. Stop, I said. Stop it. Man, he said, soft like he didn't want to wake someone. You keep losing this. He held my ID between 2 fingers and passed it to me with the scratches up. I grabbed it and my hand fumbled, and I heard myself make a sound like I was crying. I wasn't. I was mad. I tried to push past him, but he put one hand on the wall and one on the rail, and the stairwell felt very narrow. When I ducked under him, he put his hand on the back of my neck, and for a second I thought he was going to twist. He didn't. He just held. Long enough to make me know he could, and then he let go. The lights came back with a pop and the stairwell hummed, and my phone timer ticked to 1:18, and I was alone on the landing with my breath loud enough that someone 3 floors down probably heard. I ran. I banged the door into my shoulder and probably bruised a bone. I got to my room and slammed the door and locked it and put the chair under the knob, even though I knew that didn't mean anything. I slid down the wall and sat with my knees up like a little kid. The cut in my palm looked like a pale line and then a bruise. No big blood. I still have it. It's there right now, a little thin red crescent. You can roll your eyes at that too. Go ahead. I went to security in the morning with my hand, and my face, and my broken voice. Jeff wasn't there. A woman in a polo took my name and nodded. She said, "We checked the logs. The cameras were down from 112 to 124 for nightly maintenance. We don't have any export from your floor." She smiled like a teacher. "You should stay with a friend if you feel unsafe." "I don't have any friends here," I said. It sounded sad this time instead of funny. "I went to the police station off campus because, I don't know, I thought someone older would know what to do." The officer at the desk said, "Was a crime committed?" "A guy was at my door," I said. "He followed me. He did this." I held up my hand. He looked at it. He said, "Looks like you cut yourself." He clicked his pen. "We can do a report if you want." Admin emailed me after that. "Parker, we heard you were in security a few times late at night. Is there a concern with your housing that we should address? Not one mention of 117. Not one." I went back to Jeff with Caleb's name and asked if he knew him. Jeff said, "Who?" I described him. Jeff shrugged. "The kids all look the same at 2 in the morning." I checked the forum. Caleb's DMs were gone. His posts were gone. His account was gone. I looked for the photo of the footprint on my phone. Static. File time. 117. Everything. 117. I get that this makes no sense. I get that. I'm not an idiot. I don't need you to tell me it sounds embellished. I know what I saw. I moved my bed against the door because that's one thing I could do. I wrapped my hand in duct tape because we don't have actual first aid. I took the batteries out of the smoke detector because it chirped once and I couldn't stand another sound. The light in my room flickered at 1 o'clock when I plugged in my phone, and at 1:05 when the heat kicked in, and at 1:10 just to mess with me. At 1:16 it was steady, and I stared at the ceiling so hard my eyes hurt. Nobody believes me. That's the part that keeps hitting me in the chest like the long knocks. Not one person who is paid to care believes me, and the one person who did is the one who put his hand on my neck and pressed my ID into my skin and tapped the pattern like he owned it. I'm writing this because I have to put it somewhere outside my head. If I don't write it down, it'll be like the files. It'll be static with that stupid time stamped on it until I don't know what day it is. If you read this, fine. If you don't, whatever. This is the only thing keeping me sane. There. A little silence now, a little air in the room, and then the sound starts up from inside, not the hall. 3 quick. 2 slow. Hi-ho. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, feed the algorithm, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It's the only way to keep the stories coming. And if you're brave enough, there's another one waiting right after this. See you on the next one.